What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it. It is the 18th day of March. Here we are at about $72.4 thousand with roughly 10 hours left in the day. We are pulling back, and this was to be expected. This was long to be expected, right? As we have throughout this whole range, when we establish a base and we go below it, that's the perfect time to go long. When we establish a top and we go above it, that's the perfect time to go short, and vice versa. It's just been throwing us all around. People get max bullish at the top. Here we go again, man. As soon as we broke through it, that was the perfect time to sell, not to buy. But just like last time, people were getting very excited that we were in a bull market, even though just like here, people were excited we're getting in a bull market. Back here, everybody was saying we're going to 80K, 100K. We're going to do it in a week. Here, it was the same thing. The Iran war doesn't matter. We're going to pump. It's actually good for the markets. Here, it's the same thing. We're in a bull market. We just broke out. We're breaking out right now. We'll see you at 80K, 100K, all these various price targets, right? Just like down here, we're going below 40K. We're going to break through 50K. Like all these different things at the lows, right? People are very emotional. And it's a very polarized market. In these very emotional and polarized times, the most obvious thing is that we will do exactly what I've been saying we will do since February. We will be moving sideways. We won't be pumping, we won't be dumping. In fact, every pump that we get gets dumped into, every dump that we get gets pumped into. We're just moving sideways. This was never a breakout. And we know that it wasn't a breakout. It's very obvious that it wasn't a breakout, and the reason why is because there was no volume at all. We're on the index, so it's not necessarily fair. I don't think the index is a proper representation of volume. We go to Binance though. Again, no volume. In fact, as we moved higher, our volume decreased. As we broke out, our volume was decreasing. That's not a good thing. That's not how a breakout is supposed to happen. You know, if we look over here, we look at this range overall, we had the same thing right here. You remember everybody said this is a bear flag breaking out, and we knew it wasn't because there was no volume at all. And then here, whenever we did start to break out, look at this. The volume picked up. It didn't decrease, it increased. It was certainly above average. And it only picked up from there, right? This is not a breakout. In fact, what we're doing now, I think, by the end of the day, should we close here or lower, will validate the idea that this, just like this, was a fake out. A fake out. What happens when you fake out? Well, this time you moved very fast in the opposite direction. This time you moved very fast in the opposite direction. I would assume that's what's going to happen. We're going to move very fast in the opposite direction. I don't believe this is the low. I don't believe we're back testing this area for support, though we could, we could come up. We'll go over all those things, all those expectations here. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say. What was it? I don't remember. That's okay. Daily time frame, daily RSI. We'll get into all the daily stuff. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame and then we'll zoom out from there. Oh yes, that's what it was. Another good kind of implication that we were at the end of our rope here was the fact that we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 green days in a row, which Bitcoin hasn't seen in well over 2 years. This is the longest streak that Bitcoin has seen as far as green days go in over 2 years. And people were getting very, very excited every step of the way, but very, very excited at the top. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame. 72.2K. Volume is definitely picking up one direction. It's not to the upside. We were looking at this yesterday, and whenever I was looking at it yesterday, I think we were like somewhere around here, maybe even a little bit past this, and I was saying this kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulders, and I was like, we're going to go one of two ways. Either it's going to be a regular inverse head and shoulders, or there is a potential for a slanted inverse head and shoulders, right? And it looks like we went the route of the slanted, okay? I did say, while we were at these levels, I was like, don't get excited if we get to 75K. We very well could go back up there because if we look at this, we connect the dots down here. Why won't it let me? There we go. If we connect the dots down here, I mean, it literally, it right to that level. I mean, it's literally perfect. So the inverse or the regular head and shoulders. I don't know if I said inverse. I meant regular. It's just a plain old regular slanted head and shoulders pattern. You can tell by the parallel channel here, the head, the shoulders, obviously, but then also the volume. The volume was a dead giveaway. Volume with an inverse with any head and shoulders patterns, it basically looks just like this. This is the volume profile. It's just like this. And well, the reaction we're having is completely appropriate for that. So let's measure this move. By the way, I did talk about this on the YouTube channel yesterday, but I made a post on X. If you're not following me on X, you can follow me on X. I do make posts throughout the day sometimes. Not always. You know, sometimes it's higher traffic than others, but this is my most recent post 14 hours ago. High degree of confidence that this plays out by the end of this week. I thought that it would, that we'd be breaking out probably like today or tomorrow. But whenever I say plays out, I don't mean breaking out. I mean we get to this price by the end of this week. So here we are at 72.2K. I believe that we have lower to go. If you want to follow me on X, my handle is at C-Zar 69420. I probably need to change that handle to at C-Zar the Great. But somebody else, there's a false account that has it. I'm in the process of validating that so I can take that handle. Anyways, this is me. This is the real one. I don't know. Joined in June of 2018. That's not my real birthday. That's just for fun, right? The 6th month, the 9th day, 69, right? Yeah, it's just for funsies. Anyways, 1 hour time frame here. We're gonna measure this this thing right here, just like that. Okay. Lows. Connect the dots. High to the low of the pattern. Okay. That's how you measure it. You don't take the high to this low. You don't take the high to this low. That's not how you do it. Though if we were to do it that way, I just wonder. I mean, that would still take us down to about 71.5K. This one would take us to about 70.7K. Okay, so somewhere around there. Either way you measure it, it's lower to go. Normally I do take the conservative approach, but for head and shoulders patterns, you do take the high to the low. That's just how it is. So here, I would assume that we at least go below 71K. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we went below 70K as well, though. With head and shoulders patterns, with measure moves, they're just ideas. You don't have to hit this level. You don't have to stop at this level. We certainly can go lower. We might find support just above that level and consolidate and then continue to go lower after finding a lower high in this kind of dynamic. You know, it's patterns turn into other patterns sometimes. You know, we might be right now in the midst of a downward sloping channel here and we just have yet to find the base of it. Anyways, 1 hour time frame, volume's picking up. Regardless of what you make of this, we are certainly breaking out. It's very obvious at this point. The RSI is oversold. Typically, you do your best work to the downside when you're oversold. Stochastics are oversold, and the MACD is crossed below the zero, and you're building bearish momentum. All bad things, not good things. The 4 hour RSI was overbought, and actually, this was the strongest that the RSI had appeared since February. This is the best readings that we had. We've broken through this zone. We're clearly in a more bearish area now, but being at the 40, you can see even throughout this zone, we do like to find support here. You know, even for a little bit here, a little bit of resistance around this area, support, 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 right? In this area, resistance, whatever. It's somewhat significant. So if you're watching this video and you see the price bouncing from here, don't get excited, right? Same kind of message I was giving you at these lows. I was like, if we bounce up to 75K, don't get excited. We very well could go back up to 73K or even above 73K. We're at 72.1K now. So if that happens, that's probably just going to be a back test of prior support for resistance, and we will likely proceed lower. The 4 hour stochastics are bearish. These were kind of a dead giveaway yesterday. And the MACD is crossing red. The MACD overall is bullish. You know, here's something that's promising, is that if the MACD bounces off of this zero level, you know, maybe by the end of the week, if we find our low and then over the weekend we're kind of consolidating, we could recover, and next week, you know, maybe we move down going into the end of this week. I do think that we'll approach 70K or maybe even below 70K. The measure move is just below 71K, but I really do believe that we could go below 70K. I have targets there we're about to go over, but there's a chance where If this 4-hour MACD doesn't cross below the zero, that we don't, we bounce, and we could send it to higher prices. And it might not be exactly like this. It's probably not going to take that amount of time. It'll probably take a little bit longer. We're definitely moving slow one way or the other, but I do expect that we'll see this move find a relative low, from which we find a lower high or a higher high. Either way, however it works, we're going to find the relative low here probably by the end of this week, probably by Friday or Saturday at the latest. That's when I expect we'll see some more volatility to the upside. Along the way down there, we can see a little bit of volatility. Don't get excited for that, but I do expect we'll drop probably for the next couple of days at least. Sorry, guys. Hold on. I'm asthmatic, and I don't know if it's asthma, man. I really don't know, but I actually have my theories that it's not. But for now, asthma medication helps. Like dude, I don't know how I have asthma, bro. First off, I like reject it, but that's what the doctors told me. And asthma medication does help. I think it's something else, but also I'm sick. I'm a little bit sick right now. My daughter's got me sick, so that's a bad combo for the old throat there. Anyways, daily time frame. It's the worst in the mornings. If you've been following the channel, you know the first video or two is typically the worst, but then we get rolling. Somebody told me, they're like, oh, I thought it was just like a tick that you had. I was like, nope. That I wish it was, but at the same time, that'd be a very annoying tick. My tick is to get distracted, which if you've been following the channel, you're probably aware of that as well. Anyways, from a low to a high on a daily time frame, in a very bullish situation, you would expect to find support at the 236. Now that's uncommon. It's not common to do this, but it does happen. I wouldn't say this is a very bullish situation, though. I mean, the most bullish daily trend that we've had in over 2 years, one could argue. I would say this is a bearish situation because we're in fake out territory. So I again thoroughly believe that we're going to go lower. The measure move stops around 71 to 70.5 thousand dollars. But the next fib is the 382. This is a very reliable fib. If you know nothing about the fibs, you take your range low to high, whatever, that 382 is one of the most reliable outcomes that you'll have. Not that that'll be the end all be all low, but that you'll find some significance there. Like 7 out of 10 times you will. You hear 7 out of 10 times, you're like, that doesn't sound that reliable. That's very reliable, man. 6 out of 10 times is very reliable. 5 out of 10 times might even be reliable if you have an edge, you know, like you. Anyways, like you've got past data, and you've got like the last 5 times have not worked out. Maybe this time will work out. Anyways, 382 down below 70K. With the 382, it's very common to wick below it. I do expect we wick below it, so we probably even go below 69K. If we take this this relative low to high here, the golden ratio of this relative kind of retracement is right at the 382. Okay, the 382 here is actually right at the 236. So again, if we see some volatility to the upside, we could go above 73K. Don't get excited. Don't get excited. Okay. Let's see, on this drop here, you know, where are we? Right here. On this drop, we did see a little bit of volatility. We went from 70K back up to 71.3K. You made a move that was over $1,000 up, and you still moved down. So don't, all in a 8-hour period. So don't get excited about that. This is a potential area, prior resistance before 236. This is a potential area right here, psychological 72K area to find support. But I really wouldn't be surprised one way or another if we just make our way down here. I'm not calling for volatility to the upside above 73K. I'm just saying if it happens, don't get excited. What I am calling for is this area and probably even lower. If I really had to guess, guys, like cutting to the chase here. Hold on, one more time. If, wow, tomorrow's going to be a record-breaking high for temperature here in Colorado. That's crazy. One of like the hottest days, I guess, that we've had in March. That's crazy. $72,000 now. If I had to guess, I would think that we are, because my overall expectation is that we're just moving sideways. I would think that we are heading to the base of this range. That's my expectation. So with that, I would even throw 65.6 to 64K, even 61K on the table. We can. Wouldn't it be perfect, right? We just had a higher high. Wouldn't it be perfect? We get a lower low here, and then we move up. And it would be like somewhere in this trajectory with these lows. Or that we get a lower low here as soon as we do, and then we move up. Fake out on fake out. And I don't expect, what I don't expect if we go below these lows, what I don't expect is that it'll be like this. What I do expect is that it will throw us off. It'll be a little bit volatile at times. I'm making this call now. It might be right inevitably, but I might, get bullish at the wrong time and change my opinion. It won't be easy. It wasn't easy on the way up. It probably won't be easy on the way down. But really, up, down, it doesn't matter. We're moving sideways. The expectation overall is, regardless of what happens, we're not breaking out of this range until May at the earliest. June is the likelihood. Maybe even July. When I say breaking out of this range, I mean like actually breaking out. And I do believe that we'll break out to the downside. I don't believe we'll go below 50K. I do believe we will get a slightly lower low. And I actually very much do expect it to be very, very similar to what we saw last cycle. It might not be the exact same, but history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. Here, some people might say we were consolidating and then we broke out. Okay, whatever. We were moving sideways. That's what we were doing. You had a fake out. We were moving sideways. It might not look the exact same as this. I don't expect it to. But the end result, I do expect to be the same. Sideways for a very long time. And then we'll break out to the downside. It will not be a fierce break. It might seem fierce, but it won't be a fierce breakout. We won't be too far away from this low. It'll be a slightly lower low. People will be expecting more to go. And instead, that'll be the end of the bear cycle there. As far as the reaction goes, I don't know if after we drop, we're going to move sideways this long. I'm actually kind of anticipating after this next drop, we'll move up faster instead of sideways for so long. But time will tell. That's just a theory that I have right now. That doesn't mean it has to happen. Anyways, the main thought there is just that when it does come time to move below this low, I don't expect that we go too much below it. 50K is right here. I would say anything in between 60K and 50K is fair game. It literally might be just slightly below 60K. That might be the low that we get. I don't really have anything else that I want to say. I hope I've given you a lot to think about. The MACD, finding resistance at the zero, is a likelihood at this point with this reversal. Rejecting the overbought zone on the RSI. The stochastics coming out of the overbought zone here. We can look at that real quick. Hold on. Let's just do the last handful of times that we've done this. So here, when the stochastics got out of the overbought zone there, when they got out of it here, when they got out of it here, notice how each one of those times was a relative high that we dropped, thousands of dollars both times or all times, just relative highs within this sideways range. Relative highs within this sideways range, right? And we probably have more to go to the downside, right? This would be a very small drop if it stops here. So I think we do have a little bit more to go. I think that inevitably by the end of this week we'll either be below 70K or just above it. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.